All right, guys. So, as you all know, there was a huge moment in the White House a few days back now where Zelensky was there, as well as J.D. Vance and Trump, and it became a scream fest. Zelensky was the only one who didn't raise his voice, but J.D. Vance sort of berated Zelensky. Trump jumped in and did the same thing. Of course, for Zelensky, English is his second language, but he basically remained calm as Trump and Vance were like, why didn't you say thank you? You should say thank you. You should be very thankful for what we're doing for you. Right now, that is a particularly rich thing to say at this moment, because what Trump is demanding is 50% of all of Ukraine's natural resources in order to continue supporting them. That is economic colonization. It's not close. This is the U.S. colonizing Ukraine. That's what it is. Nobody else is going to tell you the truth about that, but that's the truth about that. And so could you imagine the nerve to say, why don't you say thank you, when Trump is trying to steal 50% of all of your country's natural resources from now until forever? And you, Zelensky, are caught between a warmonger imperialist who literally invaded your country and is trying to steal it. That's Putin. And a warmonger imperialist who's doing economic colonization of you. That's Trump. There's nothing to fucking be thankful for. This is a nightmare, right? So, anyway, Marco Rubio was sitting there with the saddest face you've ever seen in your life as Trump and Vance were berating Zelensky. You could tell he knows, like, oh, this is gross. This is disgusting. What the fuck am I doing here? He's Secretary of State, right? So he, in some ways, is in charge of Trump's foreign policy. And he's super uncomfortable with it. And everybody was making fun of him and tweeting the picture and being like, look at you. You sold your soul, and you fucking know you sold your soul. Well, it was Marco Rubio's job to be part of the cleanup crew. And he goes on ABC News the day after. And just listen to this, bro.
This is Lisa Murkowski, and here's what she says. This week started with administration officials refusing to acknowledge that Russia started the war in Ukraine. It ends with a tense and shocking conversation in the Oval Office and whispers from the White House that they may try to end all U.S. support for Ukraine. I know foreign policy is not for the faint of heart, but right now I am sick to my stomach as the administration appears to be walking away from our allies and embracing Putin, a threat to democracy and U.S. values around the world. Those are not my words. That's Senator Lisa Murkowski. What's your response?
Well, yeah, we're a free country. People have a right to these opinions. I would just say to you, what have we done to placate the Russians? The only thing we've done is say, are you guys willing to talk about peace? I say the same point. We're not giving them. We haven't given.
You voted with North Korea and Russia and
you voted with North Korea
and Russia and Belarus in the United Nations and against our Western allies.
No, let me tell you. All right. So do you know what the United Nations resolution was? I'll tell you if you want to hear what it was. It basically said this has been a horrible war. It's time for it to end. The job of the UN is to bring about peace in the world. I thought that's what the UN was created to do, to stop wars and to prevent them. And that's what the resolution did. Was it antagonistic towards the Russians? No. Back to the point. But it also didn't praise the Russians. All it said is this is a bad war. It needs to end. And by the way, at the Security Council, which has not been widely reported, the first resolution on Ukraine that has passed the Security Council in 3 years passed this week because of the leadership of President Trump. And it's a resolution that says bad war needs to end. Let's bring the two sides together.
Zelensky's point was, hey, man, you guys keep saying ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. You're telling me this. I got no problems with a ceasefire. The problem is, here's like a dozen examples where we previously had ceasefires with Russia, and it wasn't worth the fucking paper it was written on. They immediately violated the ceasefire. So you're raising your voice and yelling at me. Have you considered I'm not the problem? Have you considered I was invaded illegally? Ukraine was invaded illegally. So why is it it's all fucking ball coddling and hand holding when it comes to Putin and he says positive things, but when it comes to Zelensky, it's chastising and berating? Hey, it's kind of similar, isn't it, to Israel and Palestine, where Donald Trump was nebbish and meek and deferential to the genocidal, warmonger, bloodthirsty freak Netanyahu, who came in our country. Trump pulled out the chair for him, literally already sent over $10 billion since his first day in office to Israel, emergency expediting of more deadly weapons, including 2,000-pound bombs that kill countless civilians. Why is it with the aggressors, Trump is always, oh, tee-hee-hee, they're my friend, I really like them, they're nice people. But with the victims, it's, oh, fuck you, how dare you, bro, you better fall in line, we need a ceasefire, bro. That's the point. That's the point. And now he's trying to spin it, and again, it's going to get worse, you're going to see, as, bro, Trump's all about peace, bro. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Again, what is the United Nations for? Isn't it not a forum to promote peace in the world? And shouldn't our president, shouldn't we all be happy that we have a president who's trying to stop wars and prevent them instead of start them? And I just don't get it. I really don't, other than the fact that it's Donald J. Trump. If this was a Democrat that was doing this, everyone would be saying, well, he's on his way to the Nobel Peace Prize.
He really just said that. Bro, is it so bad? He's just trying to stop a war. If it was a Democrat, they'd be saying, give him a Nobel Peace Prize. Marco, since Trump got in the White House this second time, he's warmongered with Greenland, Denmark, Canada, Panama, Mexico, Venezuela, bragged about bombing Somalia. The idea, bro, it'd be like a Nobel Peace Prize if it was a Democrat, bro. This man tweeted an AI slop video the other day bragging about stealing Gaza, owning it, and building hotels and casinos after genocide and ethnic cleansing, complete with golden statues of Trump in the middle of the Gaza town square. You have the nerve to say, bro, he's just trying to be a peacemaker, bro. Really? Was it peacemaking when Pete Hegseth called Mexico the other day and threatened them with the U.S. invading them and bombing them? Was that peacemaking? Is it peacemaking when he repeatedly threatens Canada and says, we're going to make you the 51st state? Is it peacemaking when he says, we want to take Greenland? Is that peacemaking? Is that what that is? Is it peacemaking when he tried to do a coup of Venezuela his last time in office and now they're planning another one this time around? Is that peacemaking? Is that what that sounds like? Trump literally said in his first term, yeah, we were this close to overthrowing the Venezuelan government and stealing their oil. This is what he said, stealing their oil. Is that peacemaking? No, the reality of the situation is very simple. Trump wants to economically colonize Ukraine. That's the fucking deal he presented to Zelensky in no uncertain terms. We don't know the final terms of that deal, but Trump came in demanding 50% of all of their natural resources, right? And it looks like what he wants to do is make a deal with Vladimir Putin where he says, whatever, let's draw the fucking lines wherever we end up drawing the lines. Here, Russia, you maybe can have the Donbass, you can have Crimea, you could have all these areas, etc., right? But let's draw those lines, and then let's get to the point where I start stealing 50% of Ukraine's natural resources and handing it over to my robber baron friends. Because that's what this is about, ladies and gentlemen. That's what this is about. It is about the colonization. Trump even said it about Greenland. Yeah, we want to own Greenland. They got a lot of mineral resources there, so we want to own it. We want to take it. And the idea, okay, all these minerals that we're going to get, when he says we, who does he mean? He doesn't mean you. He doesn't mean me. He doesn't mean the American people. He doesn't mean the taxpayers. He means Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen and all of his robber baron friends, all of his robber baron oligarch billionaire friends who gave him money for his campaign. He means we're going to get all the wealth. We are going to colonize new places and we are going to take all the wealth because what Trump wants is the next Gilded Age. He literally has said repeatedly, the 1890s were the best time in American history. 1870s to like 19 teens, that was the best time in American history. You go back and read about it. That is literally the Gilded Age. It is like 3 people or 10 people have nearly all the wealth, and everybody at the bottom is fuckington. It's, hey, we have child labor, and your kid might lose their hand in a machine at work, right? Go to the factory, little Johnny, and shut the fuck up. It's tenement housing. It's horrific wages. It's no overtime pay. This is the world he wants. He wants to do imperialism. He wants to do colonialism. He wants to steal natural resources. He wants them for him and his robber baron friends. He wants to do more war and juice up the military-industrial complex. He wants to cut taxes for the wealthy even more. He wants Elon Musk and his robber baron buddies to loot the treasury and get all the corporate welfare in the world on top of the $38 billion he already got. This is what we're looking at. And this motherfucker has the nerve. Say, oh, bro, Trump's just trying to make peace, bro. That's why he was berating repeatedly the victim of the war. The person who got illegally invaded. Jesus fucking Christ. No shame. No shame. And by the way, you should stop and think here. Hold on. Marco Rubio is literally one of the biggest warmongers in Washington, D.C. He's never met a war he didn't like. Ever. So why is it now he's comfortable going out there and he's comfortable arguing for the peace position? Why is that? Well, could it be because it's not actually the peace position? Could it be because what's at the core of this is what I just described, namely that Trump wants to economically colonize Ukraine, and that is something Rubio loves and is fine with? Yes, that's the reality of it. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.